You know that feeling when someone you thought was gone forever suddenly reappears in your life? Your heart skips a beat, your mind races, and you're flooded with a million emotions all at once. Now imagine that person isn't just anyone. They're your twin flame, the one who ran away when things got too intense, too real, too overwhelming. And now they're back. If you're going through this right now, take a deep breath. What you're experiencing is completely normal, and you're not alone in feeling confused about what to do next. The twin flame journey is unlike any other connection you'll experience in this lifetime. It's raw, it's transformative, and yes, it can be incredibly challenging. When the runner returns, it marks a significant shift in your shared journey, but how you handle this moment can make all the difference. Before we get into the specifics of how to respond, let's talk about what's actually happening here. The runner-chaser dynamic is one of the most misunderstood aspects of the twin flame journey. Your twin flame didn't run because they stopped caring or because the connection wasn't real. They ran because it was too real. Twin flame connections trigger deep healing that needs to happen within both people. The intensity of seeing yourself reflected in another person, flaws and all, can be terrifying. So they ran, not from you, but from what the connection was forcing them to face within themselves. When they come back, it usually means they've done some inner work. Maybe they've faced some of their fears, processed some pain, or simply reached a point where being away from you hurts more than facing what scared them in the first place. Their return is significant, but it doesn't automatically mean smooth sailing from here. This is a delicate moment that requires wisdom, patience, and a lot of self-awareness from you. So let's talk about how to actually handle this. Here are 7 important things to keep in mind when your twin flame runner comes back into your life. First, give yourself permission to feel everything you're feeling without judgment. When your twin flame comes back, you might feel happy, angry, relieved, scared, hopeful, and resentful all at the same time. You might want to run into their arms and also want to protect yourself from getting hurt again. All of these feelings are valid. Don't try to talk yourself out of what you're experiencing or convince yourself you should feel differently than you do. The thing is, during the separation, you probably went through hell. You might have spent countless nights wondering what you did wrong, questioning if the connection was even real, working through your own pain and triggers. You've grown, you've changed, and now they're back. And part of you might feel like all that progress is suddenly at risk. Another part of you might feel vindicated, like their return proves what you knew all along. Whatever comes up for you, let it come up. Sit with your emotions, journal about them, talk to someone you trust, cry if you need to. Feel the joy if it's there. Just don't bypass your feelings in an attempt to appear spiritual or evolved. Here's something important to understand. Your emotional response is information. It's telling you something about where you are in your own healing journey. If you're feeling mostly fear and resistance, that's worth exploring. What are you afraid of? If you're feeling desperate or overly eager, that's also worth examining. Are you looking for them to complete you or validate you? The goal isn't to judge these feelings, but to understand them. They're guideposts showing you where you still have work to do. Take some time before you respond to their return. You don't need to make any big decisions right away. Whether they've reached out directly or you've simply become aware of their presence in your life again, give yourself space to process. This isn't about playing games or trying to make them chase you. It's about honoring your own emotional reality and not reacting from a place of old wounds or unhealed patterns. Second, get clear on what's changed since they left. This is crucial. Your twin flame coming back doesn't mean you just pick up where you left off. Both of you are different people now than you were when they left. The separation happened for a reason, and pretending it didn't happen or that it doesn't matter is a recipe for repeating the same painful cycle. You need to get honest with yourself about what's actually different. Have they done any real inner work? Or are they just lonely and remembering the good parts of your connection? More importantly, have you done your inner work? Are you still the same person who was devastated when they left? Or have you grown into someone who knows their own worth regardless of this connection? Real change shows up in behavior, not just words. If your twin flame comes back with all the right things to say, but their actions don't match up, pay attention to that. Actions are where truth lives. Have they addressed the issues that caused them to run in the first place? Are they taking responsibility for their part in the dynamic? Are they showing up consistently? Or is this just another fleeting moment of connection before they disappear again? You also need to look at yourself honestly. When they left, did you work on your own triggers and patterns? Or did you spend the whole time focused on them and waiting for their return? If you've been in chaser mode this whole time, their return might trigger you to fall right back into old patterns of trying to convince them to stay, seeking their validation, or making yourself smaller to accommodate them. That's not what this journey is about. The twin flame connection is meant to push both people toward wholeness within themselves, not create codependency or unhealthy attachment. So before you engage with them, ask yourself, am I approaching this from a place of wholeness or from a place of lack? Do I want them back because I genuinely believe we can create something healthy together, or because I've been incomplete without them? Be brutally honest with yourself here, because self-deception at this stage will only lead to more pain. Third, communicate from a place of authenticity, not strategy. When your twin flame comes back, you might be tempted to play it cool, act unaffected, or follow some kind of strategy about how to respond. Maybe you've read about how to handle this situation and you're trying to do everything right. Here's the truth. There is no right way. There's only your way, based on your authentic feelings and your genuine truth in this moment. If you're hurt, say you're hurt. If you're happy they're back, but also cautious, express that. If you need time before you're ready to engage, tell them that. The worst thing you can do is pretend to feel something you don't feel or hide your true emotional state in an attempt to control the outcome. That's not authentic connection. That's manipulation, even if it's coming from a place of fear. Twin flame connections thrive on truth and authenticity. In fact, that's often what makes them so intense and scary. These connections have a way of stripping away all the masks and pretenses we usually hide behind. So when your twin flame comes back, this is your opportunity to show up as your most authentic self. Not the version of you that you think they want to see, but the real you, with all your feelings, boundaries, and truth. This means having honest conversations about what happened during the separation. It means being willing to be vulnerable about how their leaving affected you. It also means listening to their experience without immediately getting defensive or trying to convince them of anything. Real communication is a two-way street where both people feel safe to express their truth. At the same time, being authentic doesn't mean dumping all your pain and anger on them the moment they return. There's a difference between authentic expression and emotional vomiting. Take time to process your feelings first, so that when you do communicate, you're coming from a centered place rather than just reacting from raw wounds. You can be honest about your pain without making them responsible for fixing it. You can express your boundaries without punishing them. You can be open to reconnection while still protecting your own heart. Fourth, establish clear boundaries based on your own needs and values. This might be the most important point of all. When your twin flame comes back, you need to know what your boundaries are before you engage. What are you willing to accept, and what are you not willing to accept? What do you need from them to feel safe in exploring reconnection? What are your non-negotiables? Boundaries aren't about controlling the other person or testing them. They're about honoring yourself and creating the conditions you need to feel emotionally safe. Maybe you need them to demonstrate consistency over a period of time before you're willing to fully open your heart again. Maybe you need to take things slowly physically or emotionally. Maybe you need certain conversations to happen before you can move forward. Whatever your boundaries are, you need to know them and communicate them clearly. Here's what happens without boundaries. You fall back into the same patterns that led to the painful separation in the first place. You might ignore red flags because you're so relieved they're back. You might accept breadcrumbs of connection when you actually need and deserve a full meal. You might put their needs and comfort ahead of your own healing and well-being. None of this serves your highest good or the highest good of the connection. Setting boundaries might mean risking them leaving again. That's a real possibility you need to make peace with. But here's the thing. If they leave because you set healthy boundaries, they weren't ready for real connection anyway. The right person, even your twin flame, will respect your boundaries. They might not always like them, but they'll respect them because they care about your well-being. Your boundaries also protect the connection itself. Without boundaries, resentment builds. You say yes when you mean no. You ignore your own needs, and eventually the connection becomes toxic instead of transformative. Boundaries create safety, and safety allows authentic intimacy to develop. Fifth, focus on your own healing journey regardless of what they do. This is where a lot of people get tripped up. Your twin flame comes back, and suddenly your whole focus shifts to them again. What are they doing? What are they thinking? What does their behavior mean? Are they going to stay or run again? You become hypervigilant, and your entire emotional state depends on their actions. This is exhausting, and it's not sustainable. The most powerful thing you can do when your twin flame runner returns is to stay committed to your own healing journey, regardless of what happens with them. Keep going to therapy if you're in therapy. Keep doing your spiritual practices. Keep nurturing your friendships and interests. Keep building the life that makes you happy. Don't put your life on hold waiting to see what they're going to do. This isn't about being detached or not caring. It's about recognizing that your healing and your happiness can't depend on another person, not even your twin flame. The whole point of this journey is to become whole within yourself. When your twin flame comes back, it's actually a test of how much inner work you've done. Can you stay centered in yourself, or do you immediately lose yourself in the connection again? Your continued healing actually serves the connection. When you're doing your own work, you show up as a more grounded, centered, whole person. You're not needy or desperate. You're not trying to get them to fill voids within you. You're simply present and open to whatever unfolds, but you're okay either way. That energy is magnetic, and it creates space for real, healthy connection to develop. Sixth, release expectations about how this is supposed to go. You might have spent the whole separation imagining how it would be when they came back. Maybe you pictured a tearful reunion where they apologize and everything falls into place. Maybe you imagine them having some big realization about how much they love you. Whatever fantasy you've been holding on to, this is the time to let it go. Real life rarely matches our fantasies. Your twin flame might come back in unexpected ways. They might not say the things you hoped they'd say. The reconnection might be awkward or confusing. They might still have one foot out the door. Or things might be wonderful, but different than you imagined. If you're too attached to a specific outcome, you'll miss what's actually happening in the present moment. Releasing expectations doesn't mean you have no standards or that you accept anything. It means you're open to seeing what is rather than projecting what you want onto the situation. It means you're willing to be surprised. It means you're not trying to force the connection into a box of how you think it should look. The twin flame journey has its own timing and its own unfolding. You can't control it or rush it. All you can do is show up authentically, honor your truth, and allow the connection to develop naturally. Trust that whatever is meant to happen will happen. If this reconnection is meant to lead to union, it will. If more healing needs to happen first, that will become clear too. Fighting against reality only creates suffering. Seventh, trust your intuition above everything else. At the end of the day, you know this connection better than anyone else. You know your twin flame. You know yourself. You know what feels right and what feels off. When they come back, your intuition will guide you if you're willing to listen to it. Your intuition might tell you to proceed with caution. It might tell you that something still isn't right. Or it might tell you that this time is different and it's safe to open your heart. Whatever your intuition says, trust it. Don't let anyone else tell you what you should do with your twin flame connection. Not me, not your friends, not some guru on the internet. This is your journey, and you're the ultimate authority on it. The tricky part is distinguishing between intuition and fear or wishful thinking. Fear sounds like worst-case scenarios and protective warnings based on past pain. Wishful thinking sounds like what you want to be true, regardless of evidence. Intuition is quieter. It's that calm knowing that arises from a deeper place within you. It doesn't need to convince you or argue with you. It just knows. To access your intuition, you need to create space and stillness. Get quiet, meditate, sit with the question of what's right for you in this situation. Pay attention to how your body feels when you think about different options. Your body holds wisdom that your mind sometimes misses. Notice what brings you a sense of peace versus what creates anxiety. Peace doesn't always mean comfort. Sometimes the right path is uncomfortable. But there's a quality of rightness to it that you can feel. The twin flame journey is ultimately about coming home to yourself. When your runner comes back, remember that the most important relationship you have is with yourself. Honor that relationship first, and everything else will fall into place as it's meant to. You've got this.